The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Friends in Recovery podcast, the podcast that is here to help you, a loved one, or a friend get started down the road to recovery. This is the Friends in Recovery podcast, brought to you by the Genesis House. Genesis House, providing a safe, nurturing environment to heal from addiction since 1992. Please be a friend and share our message with a friend on Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. And now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey, welcome everybody. Friends in Recovery podcast, podcasting live from the Studio 21 Podcast Café in the lovely town of Salem, New Hampshire.
Yes, it is lovely.
Beautiful. I don't know how the weather is outside because we're kind of locked up inside here. But
Mike, they keep me in here all day. I don't even get to go home.
We don't know if there's snow or if it's 90 degrees outside. Or
I am Mike the Podfather, and next to me is my good friend Jersey Ed.
Hi, everybody.
And we also have another Ed. We have two Eds, and we found two Eds are better than one. And we have Ed Sullivan, our producer extraordinaire.
You could just call me the good Ed.
The good Ed, yes, easily.
Exactly.
So, Ed, do you have anything for us today?
I do.
What do you got?
First of all, of course, like always, we want to thank Genesis House for setting up this beautiful set for us and making all this happen so we can get the word out and talk about the great topics that we have. And we do have a great guest today. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes, we do.
If you enjoy the Friends in Recovery podcast, join us for our Friends in Recovery community support events, which is our alumni, we're calling them.
Right.
Friends in Recovery. We hold monthly gatherings in Florida and New Jersey. And again, like I said last week, check our Facebook page for the update on Massachusetts. That should be coming soon with Bob Cox. At his new place. So
a lot of energy.
Absolutely, he does. He's a good guy, and he's an alumni with us.
He is an alumni.
He's great. So
is.
we do have a special event coming up, and I've been talking about it week after week, and hopefully some of you guys will be there. I know Mike said he's going to do the marathon in his car
on a pogo stick.
On a pogo stick.
Use a pogo stick.
All right. Okay. A change from last week. So, and that's October 19th and 20th. So join us. I'm going to be doing the half a marathon. There's a 5K, 10K, and just come out just to support us if you don't run or if that's not your thing. We're there, and we're going to have some shirts.
It's going to be a great day.
All stuff. Yeah, it is. It is. And then follow us on Facebook and any of the podcast catchers out there. Also subscribe. That's really important. Subscribe on YouTube, and we're also Facebook Live. It's because of the satellite that we hooked up.
You got one of those?
Yeah.
Good for you.
We were able to get Facebook from the satellite. So,
yes.
See, I know the technology, and I am up to the date to this minute on technology.
And whenever I'm having a problem, you're my first.
I know. I
go-to
get
guy.
Message. I do. I call.
Ed is the go-to guy.
That's right. That's right.
We have walkie-talkies.
That's right. That's right. And of course, Mike, we're always looking for folks to come on, professionals, alumni, just to tell your story. We had who was the Hope guy, Corey.
Corey
He was
great,
excellent. Man, that was a great show. So
and Miranda.
And Amanda. Yep. Amanda was
close
on.
enough, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm a little dyslexic.
Yes, it's Amanda Marino.
That's what it was. Lovely Italian girl, and she was very, very knowledgeable and just a joy.
Yeah. We had some great past shows.
Steve Adams.
Steve Adams was on last week.
We had Steve. Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So just get a hold of us, and you can get us on Facebook page, or you can email us, friendsinrecoverypodcast.com.
Right, or you can call me at my office number, 978-459-4884. That's Mike Miles at Therapy Services, and 24/7. We'll get back to you.
Mike will help you with whatever you need. So
certainly will.
Back to you in the newsroom, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. So we have a special guest today.
We do.
Have, Desiree Arney. And Desiree is a public speaker. She's also an author, which I think is wonderful, and there's a lot of work. She's the director of Life and Certified Family Recovery Specialist. Desiree was a character educator for the schools and community from 2004 to 2014. She would show the children to identify their gift and direct them. I think I really like to talk to her about this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, she's going to be on, so we can't ask her about that.
It's going to be very, very soon.
Yes.
And Desiree believes you can take center stage of your life, and I like this as well. Anybody with a desire to put the effort into writing a book, which I'm sure didn't happen overnight, Director of Life. Can you explain Desiree's book, Bound by Love, Anchored in Truth? The publication date was February of this year, 2019.
Great.
And the book educates and equips families impacted by addiction to develop a plan of action that supports recovery for those they love. And you can purchase the book on Amazon. And again, I just want to mention it one more time. Bound by Love, Anchored in Truth, author Desiree Arney. And Desiree, you're looking at us, and you're a very attractive woman.
Hi, Desiree. How are you?
You look very.
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
You look very festive.
We like your glasses. Are they from Florida?
They're from Siesta Key.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I did teach character education to students in our community, but I did that, and I think this is why Stacy was so interested when she talked to me about it, because I was a character.
Oh, okay.
I was a character as well. I dressed up as a Victorian.
Oh, you did?
Oh, really?
And I taught etiquette and manners to children all over, but more importantly, I taught them to value themselves.
No.
So that was my message.
It sounds very interesting. Now, did you dress up like a character from maybe Downton Abbey? Or
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Great era.
Yeah.
A very proper era.
Yes.
Yeah. I just started watching it now. I mean, I know it's been around forever. There's a movie coming out tomorrow. The movie.
Yes.
And I'm just captivated. I'm addicted. I can't stop watching it. I love it.
I know it.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us a little bit about the character thing and what got you into the therapy world and specifically the substance abuse, I'm guessing.
Okay, so I've always had a passion to help individuals, children, adults, to find their self-worth and really celebrate their unique gifts and talents. So it's a theme throughout my life. But the link with addiction is that I feel by teaching children their worth, they're less likely to become addicted because they know who they are, they know why they're here, and they know what they're doing and where they're going. I just think it should be part of, as mandatory as math for children to learn.
Boy,
I agree.
Such a good
agree
point.
with that. Yes, absolutely. Because first of all, there's a lot of dysfunctional families out there that don't teach their children that. And we had a guest on a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about anxiety and we're learning all that from our parents and our I love my parents dearly, but they weren't the best teachers in the world, and then trying to cope with that later on in life. You get an addiction, you get whatever the case may be coming out of it, and if that is taught in school, if that was ever to be, it would be great. So
And my question is, you did it for 10 or 11 years, quite a long time, a decade.
Right.
And did you ever have anybody come back to you and say, "Hey, this was great. Thank you so much for being part of early." What grade were you teaching at the time? What were the different grades?
So I taught mostly from K through third.
Right.
The material I used was geared toward those age groups. And I actually wrote a children's book as well to teach the children from, and it was, 3 foot tall,
Right.
It was very animated, very theatrical, this whole thing.
Oh, sounds great.
I had so many, not only did I have children that became adults come back to me, but I had adults in the room that learned
I bet.
from the lessons I was teaching. So,
and what made you go in this endeavor? I mean, this isn't something I know. A lot of educators, and I have some close friends that are educators, family members. My daughter's a teacher.
okay.
What made you do this? Was this your idea, or did you learn this somewhere? Or?
It was my idea. What really happened was I had 2 in diapers at home.
Yep.
They were pretty much driving me out of my mind. But when I set up a tea set for them, I don't know what happened, but they literally sat down and changed.
Wow.
I found that I tried it the next day. It happened again. So I thought, this is a great opportunity. I don't know what's happening, but when I said we're going to have a tea party, we're going to sit down, they just did it. And then what I found is it was working everywhere I went with children.
Wow.
And so I had a time to teach because they were listening to me. And so that's how it all started, really. I didn't try to set out to do this, but it just happened. And then I just started contacting schools and teaching things that I thought were important. And so that's how it all started.
Well, that's amazing. And did you have like I know at home you were mom, but I mean, when you were doing this, did they call you my lady, or did they?
They actually named me. They named me the Tea Lady.
Oh, I love
lady.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you speak with a British accent by any chance?
No, I didn't. I didn't think I could keep it up all the time. So I didn't want to.
Julia Child.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
What a great concept. Though.
it is. It sounds a little bit like play therapy, which is done individually with a child and maybe the families, but this is in a group. I never heard of this before. It's amazing.
Thank you. I had a great time doing it. My daughter actually does it now.
Okay.
Does she really?
Kind of took over for me. She actually can sing. I can't, but kids don't know it. So, but she's in musical theater, and so she has taken that over, and she does a great job.
Wow.
I bet you the kids love it. They must look forward to going to school.
Well, they love it when she comes in. There's no doubt about that. When I walked into a school, I was a celebrity. I said, "You can't beat this job. They tell you you're pretty all."
That's wonderful.
That's great.
That's wonderful.
So now, fast forward to what you're doing today. I'm guessing you kind of came out of that and you're doing private practice now and all that. What do you specialize in? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what I was seeing was many of my friends, their children, I hate to say it, but they were dying. Mm-hmm. They were addicted and dying. And then my best friend's son, who happened to be my son's best friend, passed away of an overdose. And I just felt paralyzed to help her. I felt I couldn't say or do anything that would ease her pain. I just didn't know how to help. Yep. And so and watching my son struggle with this loss of his best friend, it just changed them both.
Right.
It changed them forever. And so as it was kind of part of my healing to reach out and start to try to figure out a way to help families like my friend Lynn, and help my son get through the loss, but hopefully maybe help them in a way that they wouldn't have to experience a loss by helping them develop a plan of action that best supports someone that is in addiction.
Right.
So that's where the plan comes in, where I help them develop this plan that works for their family, that may not feel like love all the time when they withhold or they set boundaries, but it is, because then that causes them to have to choose different.
So is it is it the addict you're working with, or the families, or a little bit of both?
I do a little bit of both. So I help place people that are addicted, because I get the calls from the families. So then I help the family while the person is in treatment. Wow. I help them identify things that are not helping, identify things that are not working, things that are actually contributing to keeping a person in addiction that they think are helping that aren't, and then help them develop a plan of action to change those things. Yeah,
you got to fix the family. I'm a big advocate on fixing the family, because I don't remember whatever show it was. You fix the addict, you throw him into treatment, and the family doesn't do anything. That addict's coming home to the exact same atmosphere that he or she left. Right. And what does that set up? That sets us up for relapse, because they're gonna do it. They're gonna let them do everything they did, and I'm sure there's a honeymoon point at one point in the relationship, but it's gonna fall back right into that old behaviors, and boom, you got an addict back.
Exactly. I feel like every person in the family can take responsibility for their part in this in the addiction. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So I help educate families, by identifying the roles they may be playing or things they may be doing. And I obviously don't tell anyone how to run their lives, but I do help them identify things that are causing more problems probably than actually helping, which is what they all want to do.
Sure, absolutely. And when you see somebody that's enabling, we use that as an example, you obviously call them out on that.
I do. And I ask the question, can you tell me how this is helping? Mm-hmm. What is the outcome?
Oh, great approach.
Do families know that they're even enabling?
A lot of the times they don't.
Okay, and then that's where you step in and say, okay, well, how could this action help your, whatever that action may be, paying for his phone or whatever the case may be. So you confront the families on that.
Yes.
That's interesting.
This is so great. This is what's so great about it. In our group, we can take specific questions, that a family member may say, well, I don't know if this is enabling. I mean, I send money I'm trying to feed my child.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the dad is standing there of the adult child is saying, but the money never goes toward that.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Goes to the dollar menu and the rest goes to the drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, just identifying those things and helping families work together. That's the key too, is let's be a team. We can all agree that we love this person and we want to help this person. So let's make a plan that we all are involved to do that.
Change is important. That's the key to everything.
We're going to be taking a quick break,
Yep.
and we'll be back with Desiree Arney in a very short time.
Yep.
All right.
So
Okay, Ed.
Thank you.
We'll
see you
be
after
back.
the break.
Genesis House is a premier substance abuse and rehabilitation facility located in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. We have been providing the highest quality of addiction treatment since 1992 and are accredited by the Joint Commission. We offer a range of programs that include detox, residential treatment, dual diagnosis, a Christian track for people who want to incorporate their faith into treatment, a uniform services track, and we work with most major insurance carriers. Genesis House is led by a dedicated team of administrative and clinical professionals, and we stand on our commitment to excellence in recovery services. Contact us today to find out more about our program. Take the first step and call Genesis House at 800-737-0933 or visit us on the web at www.genesishouse.net. That's 800-737-0933 or www.genesishouse.net. Begin your journey to a long and successful recovery with Genesis House.
Hey, welcome back, Friends in Recovery podcast. Like the Podfather. And,
Well, I thought you were the pod child.
well, it's a pod child, according to Ed, producer. And you know what they say about producers.
No, I don't. But
Yeah.
I don't think I want to know, Mike.
And I'm here with Jersey Ed
yeah.
and
Hi,
Desiree
everybody.
Arney. And Desiree, so nice. This is such a great concept. Ed and I were just talking off air about this is wonderful. We're going to start dressing up, and we're going to maybe get some suggestions from you before we call it a day.
Maybe at least a special Halloween episode.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I want to get Ed a nice wig is what I want to get him because his head's really glowing here. But Desiree, you've written a book, two, it looks like, one.
Yes.
Yes.
I've written a children's book that's on Amazon.
Right. Well, this is incredible. Tell us about the books. I want to hear about it.
Well, the children's book I wrote was one that I read in schools when I did the character education. And
Right.
it's just about knowing your unique worth and really appreciating it. And then you're able to appreciate the worth of others as well. So anti-bullying curriculum and things like that. It's called The Inside Out Girl.
And how long ago was that?
That was back in 2003.
Wow. Anti-bullying back in 2003. That's pretty innovative back then.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and the bullying stuff just recently really kind of came to the forefront in the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. I know it's always been out there, but to do it back in 2003 was, you always swept that under the carpet.
Sure.
when
Sure.
Yeah,
you know.
that's right. That's right. And I've always identified that bullying it's so detrimental
Oh,
to
yes.
children and especially in like now I know when they get to middle school and they can't cope that they're turning to substances to help them feel more
Certainly.
relaxed, help them feel like they fit in. They get,
Sure.
more comfortable with themselves. And I just feel like it's so important. We have to teach children to figure out a way to feel confident
Yeah.
and sure of themselves without medicating or
Certainly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great
substances.
concept.
So-
Great concept.
Real quick about the bullying, since we got a bullying expert on here, it's great to teach the kids that who were being bullied, their self-worth and everything. But what about these kids that are doing the bullying? Because I don't even think they know it. I think it's kind of a rite of passage to these younger kids. The 12, 13, 15, even 17-year-olds, they may not know they're doing that. Is there any education on that? Is that part of your book, or is that anything that these kids need to? I mean, that's a problem, but they may see that at home. Dad's bullying mom, and son bullies the other kids in school.
Well, part of my curriculum was to teach children, including bullies, there were bullies in the room, of course,
Of course.
that if you are bullying, it's because you don't understand your own self-worth.
Okay.
So my partner and I would help the kids to understand that bullying is something you do because you lack something, and we want to help you find that something.
Nice.
Yeah.
So kind of going, because you don't want to shame them, obviously.
Right,
They're
no, of course not.
They're seeing things, they're struggling to fit in.
Yeah.
And so you want to recognize that too. So we just kind of level the playing field there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a great concept.
I worked on bystanders too, that, don't stand by
Right.
and let this happen to someone. Speak up and step up.
Yeah,
and
I have something like that happen to me. I was in Idaho a few weeks ago, and I was coming out of a Target, and I heard these kids like whistling. It was behind a building, or behind one of the pillars there, whistling at these women, and I didn't know it were kids, or they were saying something or whatever it was, something derogatory, and I'm looking around the corner, and I see the woman turn around and said, "You're a bully. Stop it." And it obviously didn't have any impact on the kid. And I seen two young girls come around the corner. That lady left. Two young girls come around the corner, and these kids did the same exact thing to these kids. Wow. And I got a little mad. I shouldn't have took the approach I took, but I went up to him. I said, "That woman said to stop. You stop it. We're not bullying. We're not bullies." I'm like, "The hell you're not," I said. I should have sat there and kind of talked to him. I shouldn't have, told them, to stop it. I think telling somebody to stop being a bully or stop doing whatever they're doing, it doesn't work. Right. You have to educate them, just like you did.
Right. And going at it from a different angle, like, what's going on? Just talk. I read this quote: "Whoever shows up is who they listen to." Mm-hmm. And we have to show up in these kids' lives and speak life into them.
Certainly.
And correct them and teach them. And if we show up that way and teach them the importance of being a leader and leading in the right direction, I just think it's powerful. And certainly. So a bully, if you take a bully and say, "You know what, you're a leader, mm-hmm. but you're just leading in the wrong direction. Absolutely. Let's go this way. Yeah. Let's go this way."
Yeah.
So.
Now, what about the second book? The Bound by Love, Anchored in Truth. I'm sorry, Bound by Love, Anchored in Truth. That sounds very interesting. I like the title.
This book I wrote to help. I wrote this to myself as well, because I was an enabler of my son. When he lost his friend, I did a lot of things that I thought were helping him that were not helping him. Mm-hmm. Things he didn't even ask me to do, because I would tell myself, he's in pain, he can't handle it, he's hurting, he's not getting the counseling he needs, so he's just medicating and things like that. So, and I wrote it for parents like myself. I mean, my son is 30, mm-hmm. my daughter's 23 and 22, and I know a lot of things now that I should not have done then. Right. And the fact of the matter is that I tried to make every single situation for my kids comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. Yes.
The fact is that life is not comfortable, right. and bad things happen. And we have to teach our kids
correct.
To deal with the pain, not try to cushion put bubble wrap around them, mm-hmm. and tell them they're wonderful and great and they can be whatever they want, because the fact is they can't be whatever they want. No. You can't be a supermodel if you're 4 foot tall. Yeah. You cannot do. Yeah. And so I just think, for me, I have just learned so much being a parent about what I should not have done and the things that I should do. So I included those in my book, that we need to allow our children, even adult children, to experience the consequences of their actions and not try to cushion them or take them away, so that they learn.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, too, about telling your kids they can be whatever they want, that's great, but it also gives them low self-esteem later on in life. Well, I didn't become the president of the United States, or I'm not the banker that my mom wanted me to be, or I'm not the football player that my dad wanted me to be. I'm basically a loser. I didn't do much. I didn't do what they expected. Listen, if the kid that's 4'2", 100 pounds, he's not going to be a linebacker. It's just not going to happen. And Dad wants him to be a linebacker, and physically it can't happen. There's what do they say? There's a wrench for every nut out there, right? Isn't that what they say? So, but we have to figure our way in life. And now, does this lead up to this problem when you're doing this? Does this lead into addiction, or does it lead into low self-esteem, then leads into addiction? I mean, what's the concept behind the book?
Well, the book starts out with just explaining why one of the major reasons we have an epidemic at all. Apart from the pharmaceutical companies, but that our kids are trying to self-medicate, and they're medicating their pain because we haven't taught them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you have young children, you can learn from this book to teach them. If you have children in addiction, which this is really written for parents and families, it is to help identify those areas and stop doing that. Mm-hmm. Because if we are cushioning them when they're young and teenagers and young adults, we're probably still doing it if we don't learn differently.
Yeah.
So this book is designed to help families identify those things and then make a plan to change those things so that there's a better chance of someone in addiction to come out of it because they have to make choices for themselves.
Certainly. And as somebody that's basically devoted half your life to helping children and also helping young adults and adults themselves by writing a book, by being a teacher, obviously you must have some pride and some self-satisfaction.
You know what? My greatest achievement is to help someone understand their divine worth and value.
Yeah.
When they get that and something connects and clicks that they are worthy of love and respect and being in this world, and I connect with them, that's just the greatest thing ever.
Wow, super.
And that's when the healing begins, when you can kind of, connect with them and then get them on the right path so they can start learning what the proper the proper way to go is, I guess, in life.
That's right. That's why I call myself a life director and not a life coach.
I like that, life director.
I feel like I have this ability to see the potential and the gifts and abilities in other people. Mm-hmm. And so I see the whole picture like a director would.
Yeah.
And so if they were directing a movie, they have the whole vision of it in their mind. I feel like I can look at a person and identify their gifts as I engage them, on an ongoing basis and direct them where to go, what to do.
Yeah. Well, even when we're kids, obviously you think of kids because they go to college and high school. I'm dealing with my daughter going to college now and high school, and you're learning all the time. But when you get out of college and you get into a career, you still learn. You still, Mike's really old, but he's still learning. We try to learn every day, and this thing of somebody directing you, a life director, that's wonderful to kind of get that out there and give me guidance. Am I doing this right? Because there's no handbook in life, no handbook in parenting, no handbook in substance abuse. We don't know what the next thing is to expect. If you could have somebody step outside yourself and say, okay, this is the direction you might want to go, or you're strong here or whatever, and that's kind of what you do. I'm guessing.
I do. I mean, I don't strong arm them, but I can teach them they actually can see the things in themselves once I help them see a clear pattern of where they have shined in life.
Yep.
Certainly.
This is where your gifts are. This is where you need to be headed. And then take action. Yep. You got to take action. Nothing happens if you don't.
Absolutely.
Well, Desiree, you've been a great guest. Yeah. Your books, they sound so interesting. I'm definitely going to look Bound by Love, Anchored in Truth up. That's for sure.
You want to see the cover? Right here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there. Okay.
I see it. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
And how can we get that real quick? Again, let us know.
This is on Amazon.com Amazon.com or DesireeArney.com. You can get it as well.
And how can they get a hold of you? The same way?
Same way, DesireeArney.com.
Okay, and you're accepting new clients to direct them and guide them through life, right?
Absolutely, definitely.
Thanks, Desiree. You've been a great guest.
Desiree Arney, you've been wonderful. You've really enlightened both of us.
And guys,
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Desiree. And guys, don't forget the new podcast that we're doing, Friends in Recovery, Answering the Call. I can't keep forgetting what it is. Answering the Call. It's for first responders, and Mike and I are doing it. And this is a great podcast for the first responder to listen to.
Absolutely,
Mike does a great job on the podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be a good podcast.
And my pretty face is on there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Desiree.
Stay sober, everybody.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.